You're listening to Tam's World. I'm your host, Tamarind Nicole, and this is episode 8, where I talk about a man's responsibility. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 8 of Tam's World. Thank you guys for tuning in. As you guys know, if you guys listened to episode 7, I did an episode about the virtuous woman and the requirements of a woman and the things that we are to be held accountable for just in daily life and in our experiences. So with that being said, I told you guys I wasn't just going to be coming for the girls. I was going to be coming for you men too. So ladies, strap up, get ready, and men, get ready to take notes and listen to the things that we're going to be talking about today, and seek to get some wisdom and seek to really evaluate yourself as a man and say, all right, where do I need to step up? Where do I need to improve myself? What are some things that I need to be doing different, or what are some things that I need to pat myself on the back for and give myself credit for and say, like, you did that, like you're a great man. So with that being said, I'm not a man. I can't get on here and say what it's like to be a man and what are the requirements of a man. So without any further ado, I do have a guest on this episode today. My brother-in-law is here, Quentin. Hi, Quentin.
What's up, Tam? How you doing?
I'm good. He's probably a little nervous right now to be on the podcast, so you guys be nice to him. So yeah, I'm excited that you're here. I initially was gonna have my brother on the podcast, but he was not available anymore. So Quentin came through, and I feel like God works in mysterious ways, because I was kind of like going back and forth as if I wanted you or Terrence on here, and I feel like we're closer in age, so I feel like the listeners are actually going to be able to relate to you a little bit more maybe than Terrence, than my brother. So yeah, so how do I know you? Let's kind of get into our past. Like, how did we even meet?
Let's see, we met freshman year of high school, and we're 23 now, so that's probably about like 10 years ago. So It's been a little while now. I don't remember if it was exactly, I met you freshman year, and speaking of Terrence, I think I said something crazy to you. So we weren't friends the first year.
Yeah,
I don't remember what I said, but I said something that was probably rude.
Yeah, Quentin was actually kind of mean to me when we first met, and he said something crazy to me. It was out of line. And I remember I was like, because I'm super emotional, everything that anyone says to me gets in my feelings. And so I went home to my brother and I was like, this boy said this and this about me, and I didn't like what he had said. And so my brother like pressed him.
No, you can't.
No, he didn't press you. What happened?
If you're viewing this podcast and you know Quentin wasn't pressed. Quentin was casually talking to in a very nice manner. And I'm a respectable guy, so I'm like, you know what? You're right, Terrence. That's how that went. Quentin was impressed, but I'll let you continue.
So yeah, that happened. And then we continued to be friends growing up. And then come about sophomore year, we had chemistry together. We were sitting in class and I was like, we were just having a random conversation, and I was just like, oh yeah, my sister's coming here next year. She's coming to Rev, and I'm just so excited because I'm gonna have my sister here. And so he kind of looked up at me. He was like, you have a sister? I was like, yeah, I have a sister. He's like, let me see her. I'm like, okay. So I pulled up a picture, whatever. She was in like the 8th grade at the time. No, I'm doing you. So she was in the 8th grade at the time, and we were sophomores, and I showed him a picture, and he was like, I'm gonna get her. And so yeah, this is now my brother-in-law.
I promise you it couldn't have happened. That make me sound like a pervert. Look, I was 15. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. It was a really long time ago. I probably said something along those lines. I wasn't being serious, but life is crazy. It works in mysterious ways. God works in mysterious ways.
Maddie came through, put that little chocolate drop on him. He know what to do.
Man, I didn't even know I liked chocolate. I thought I was a mocha guy. I was a mocha guy. It's crazy.
Oh gosh. Okay. A wife and 2 kids later, you're a dad now. How are you enjoying that?
I'm sleepy. Right now. I just took off my glasses to rub my eyes because I'm tired. But I mean, it's one of those things people always say. It's definitely like tiresome and it's work, but it's like rewarding. Watching like my son's trying to start walking, watching that, or how my daughter's starting to talk more. It's like when you get to enjoy those moments and watch those moments, it's really just like powerful. It means a lot.
Yeah. Okay. So before we get started into this episode, of course, like I always say in every episode, this podcast is spirit-led, God-led. You will never hear an episode without hearing the word of God. That just is what it is. Doesn't matter what you're in or what you're doing in your life right now, you're gonna hear it. So if you guys have your Bibles, if you guys have your Bible apps available, if you just want to listen, go ahead and open up to Ephesians chapter 5 verses 25 through 31. For husbands, this means love your wives just as Christ loved the church. He gave up his life for her to make her holy and clean, washed by cleansing of God's word. He did this to present her to himself as a glorious church without a spot or wrinkle or any other blemish. Instead, she will be holy and without fault. In the same way, husbands ought to love their wives as they love their own bodies. For a man who loves his wife actually shows love for himself. No one hates his own body, but feeds and cares for it, just as Christ cares for the church, and we are members of his body. As the scripture says, a man leaves his father and mother and is joined to his wife, and the two are united into one. So with that being said, of course, this episode is not just about being a husband and being married. It's about being a responsible man and what are the things that God calls us to do as humans, and specifically as men. What are the things that God calls us to do and be in the world and in our life and in our marriages and our relationships, and really even to ourselves? How is a man supposed to really even carry himself on a day-to-day? So I guess I could get started with the first question. How would you compare yourself right now as a married man and the things that you've learned from being married compared to when you were kind of, just living your life freely? Like, I know you guys got married young. You got married at around like 21. What's the difference between that life and the life you were living before?
I think as being a boyfriend compared to being a husband, I feel like there's a lot more respect that goes into it. Like, you have to be like a lot more understanding of things, a lot more patient. You have to talk a little bit more. Like, it's not like simply just like going on dates and hanging on the weekend. It's like an everyday type of ordeal. So like, you're still learning that person, especially as you get older. You're like learning this person, learning who they're becoming and what their interests are, because interests change. Like, we're not like 18, 19, 20 anymore. Like, we're getting older. So really just learning that person, spending time with them, like I said, being understanding and patient, and just like really coming out of yourself. Like, it's not so much about you anymore. Like how you read at the end of the scripture, the two become one. So it's like when you're boyfriend and girlfriend, it's almost like you're two different individuals, but when you become one, like you start to think alike, you start to act alike, you start to have like similar interests, like just things along those lines.
Okay, that's good. One of the things that, God calls us to do is to love. Would you say that it's easier to love as a husband and as a father, or just even with growing up, like how were you loved on, and how has that changed as far as your love walk, finding God? We actually weren't exactly always living for God. Me and Quentin can both attest to that. So what would you really say the difference is as far as loving? I feel like men are so like, they're so strong, like, oh, I'm a man, like I'm not all, sweet, gushy, like all of the, things that you consider for a woman. God calls men to love. So how have you kind of had to change your walk as far as learning how to be more sensitive and more open to love?
I feel like my walk has changed a lot in the terms of, because when I was younger, I was a lot more like selfish and a meaner individual. And I feel like you have to soften up a lot with becoming married and with having children. Like, you can't just be like this mean, like aggressive guy any longer. So I feel like I've had to just like learn to love in a totally different way. And apart from how like I was raised and how you think love is, like for me, like you think love is like getting yelled at and then getting a gift or something after, and it's just like, oh, like, I still love you, like don't worry about that. But like love is like actually like not getting upset, like just having a conversation with them, like I said, like being understanding and understanding that nobody's perfect, especially when you have kids. Like, it's like a big, like, I don't want to say energy drainer because it sounds rude, but it's just like you're tired, so like you're more susceptible to get frustrated or to take something the wrong way. So just really just being more patient. Another thing, I was actually talking to Madison about this recently, because you get so caught up with like how you are as a man and just being like this big manly man, and like how the world like shows things where it's just like your girl has to do and say everything that you want her to do and say, like she's like under you in a way. But I've really like come to realize, like as a man, like you have to be like kind of submissive too, and like not like in a feminine way, but just like how your wife submits to you and how you submit to God. Like I feel like you should do it to your wife as well. You should let her win an argument or like do something nice for her. Like I said, just like understand that like things aren't always what they seem like they are. You could be frustrated. Like you just have to be more understanding and more submissive to your wife. In my opinion, it really goes both ways.
Yeah, that's good. I would agree with that. I mean, I'm not married, but definitely an experience that I've had in relationships. Like, it's really a two-way street. So God calls us to work. In the last episode, I was talking about work and working hard. There's a difference between working for an income and working. Being a husband, being a father is work. It's hard work. How do you manage yourself as far as like taking care of yourself, but also working for your family and maintaining your household?
Well, I'll start off with taking time for myself, because I'm a pretty simple guy. I don't mind like sharing this, but like after I quit smoking weed probably like 5 months ago now, like I don't hang out, and like I never really drank like that either. So like you didn't really catch me in the bars, but like I don't really hang out, to be honest. Like my typical hobbies are playing the game, because I like to play the game, and I go paintballing with my friends, but that's like a once a month type of thing. So other than work, I'm like really at home most of the time. So I feel like that's how I get like my little like clarity of mind, or like let out frustration or something, is like paintballing and playing the game.
Okay, so I have a couple questions that I'm going to ask you. I just have random questions. So I want you to pick a number 1 through 51.
I'll pick 30.
30. Okay. If you had to live in another time period, what would you choose?
I don't know if it's the luck of the draw, but I literally say this all the time. Like, I like just bringing this up because I don't know why, and I'm going to be honest with you. I like medieval shows. I don't know why. Like, I would live in I would live back in the day, like the 1700s or something. Like, I don't know what it is, just about like that ancestral lifestyle where it's just like, it's drawing to me. Like, it sounds funny, but it's very drawing.
Do you ever think about how musty that actually would be in real life?
You don't smell it like that back then. You don't even have the nose for that type of stuff.
I don't know.
They had perfumes and lotions.
Did they?
They took baths at least once a month, so you still get in the bath.
Gosh. I mean, they probably were super musty, but they probably didn't know it. Like, we're probably musty, but don't know it.
I'm not musty.
I'm not musty either.
I took a shower this morning. I'm not musty.
But I mean, I hope you get what I mean. There are scents that we go nose blind to because we're around them often. Not to say that we are musty, but there could be some scents that we like. Riley's sitting here, we can't smell him because we're probably used to him. But someone that's never been around a dog is probably like, you got that smelly dog on the couch, like, yeah, whatever. Kind of focusing on marriage right now. Men may be afraid of rejection, even if you guys won't admit it. You guys could be afraid of rejection. Men can be kind of afraid of being compared to another man, feeling like they don't want their wife looking at someone else or talking to somebody else, or even feeling like their wife is interested in someone else. And I feel like people will label it as insecurity, but it's really not insecurity, because ideally women feel the same way, but men don't get enough credit for feeling that way. I feel like men can also feel inadequate, insecure, frustrated, and helpless as they face the challenges in life. I think that especially with Black men, especially, you guys struggle a lot with being profiled all the time. You guys struggle a lot with, whatever happened growing up with your family dynamic or whatever the case is. And as you get married, you kind of have to grow out of that, and you have to learn new ways. And your wife, the reason why you get married is she's there to help you. So with all of that being said, thinking of my sister, your wife, what is the best way that she can help you in these areas of when you feel insecure, frustrated, or helpless and facing those challenges in life? What can she do to help you? And if she's already doing it, what does she do that keeps you going? For the ladies that want to know, like, how can I better help my man or my husband?
I think to start that off, like, if you want to get a better understanding of like where I'm coming from, you have to first just like take a look at yourself, kind of is what I feel like. Like, you can't always allow how you feel be because of somebody else. It could be something that you're not doing and that you're doing that's causing you to feel that way. So first you have to check if you're just being insecure, and if I'm being insecure, like, what is it about? So for example, if somebody's like, oh, I feel like my girl's gonna leave me for somebody who has a job or who makes more money. Well, do you have a job? Like, that's not something your wife can fix. It's only something you can fix for yourself. Or maybe ask for a raise, or maybe get a different job. Like, that's something that you can talk about, but she can't really change that for you. So you have to take a look at yourself first. And then other than that, you just have to be open enough to come to her. Like, that's the first step, and that's what's really hard for a lot of men, especially Black men. I find myself catching me doing it with my son sometimes if he's crying too much. I'm like, boy, like, tighten up. Like, you're crying like a little girl. Yeah. And it's just like, that's kind of like how you're taught. Like, you can't show feelings. Like, don't cry, like you're a man. Like, get over it type of thing. Yeah. But like, once you become married, like, you have to be like vulnerable enough to tell your wife how you're feeling, and she also has to be understanding and caring enough to like receive that information and just talk to you about it. I feel like it just always comes with communication.
So what are some things that she can do or already does do to help you in those times when you're just really having a bad day, or you're feeling just really frustrated and you really don't want to be bothered? What are some ways that can help you either feel better, or once you actually kind of get out of that that gloom and reflect on it, what are some things that happen that you're like, okay, yeah, like that helped me?
The number one thing, if it's something that I need to talk about, like I said, just like listening, and not like listening like in the terms of like doing something else, like actually like giving that person your attention, like sitting down and talking with you, like not watching TV, like not sending a text message while you're talking, like actually listening to where you're coming from and just trying to be understanding, because I feel like the best way that she could help you in terms of something she can do. But say like if I'm frustrated, like for me personally, if I'm like frustrated or angry, like some situations I don't want to talk, like that's a situation where it's just like I'm just gonna go paintballing and like I'm just gonna get out there in the field, or like I'm gonna hop on the game and just talk to the guys and just like play the game. Like sometimes you just need to take space for yourself, so just allowing you to have that space, or just talking to you when you're frustrated and like really listening to you.
Kind of like how you said about submitting to your wife, it's important, even though God calls women to submit to their husbands, as a man of God, and knowing that God loves women and blesses men with wives. As a godly husband shows respect to his wife in what way he treats her, how do you show your wife respect on a day-to-day?
I'm still a work in progress, so like these could just be like standard things that nobody should do. But growing up as a young male, I would do this all the time, so I see it as like a step forward. But I would say being respectful in the sense of like watching how you talk to her. Like I haven't raised my voice at Madison in probably like 2 years at least. Like I don't yell. I definitely don't curse at her. I do not put her down. Something that I've worked on more so recently, like in the last couple months, is like giving her my like undivided attention, because I always had the thought process like I'm just sitting here on the game, like I haven't gone anywhere, like we're spending time together. But it's just like just actually getting off the game, putting your phone to the side, putting everything to the side, like all the distractions of the world, and just like really listening to your wife and like having a relationship with her. Like because what comes with kids, like you get drawn away from the relationship part, you're just like focused on raising kids. And a lot of people, that's why they get divorced, because when the kids are gone, you realize I don't even know this person, like I just raised kids with them. So it's like really just building a relationship with her, like outside of the kids and outside of everything else, and just trying to get to know her.
I definitely would say, like from a woman's perspective, focusing on men that are constantly on the game. We know you love the game. We know 2K and Madden and what is it, Apex,
Yes, sir.
All that other whatever. Yes, it's cool and it's fun, but really take out the time and say, how many hours am I spending on this game and not really paying attention to my partner? Because ideally, I'm the type of girl where like I'll let it slide for a little bit because I actually enjoy watching the game. That's weird. Like I enjoy watching you play 2K or Apex, whatever the case may be, because I like to learn the game. I'm not good at it. I can't hold a controller to save my life, but I enjoy watching the game. But after a while, it's like, okay, like what are some ways that we can hang out and do things? I actually had an ex, he would always be on the game and he never paid attention to me at all. But I also had an ex where it was like he would purchase games where we could play it together. I think it's what's it called? I can't remember the name of the game, but it's like
Two.
Called what?
I think it's like It Takes Two or something.
Yes,
like that.
It Takes Two. So there's It Takes Two. That game is super fun. It literally takes two people to play, so you can't do certain tasks without the other person there. And there's also this other game. It's like a jailbreak game. Like you guys are breaking out of jail, but it's kind of for dudes. But if you got a girl that's into that kind of stuff, she could play it too. I don't remember the name of it, but yeah, guys, if you guys know that you're not really paying attention to your girl or your wife because that game is becoming a distraction, maybe fast from the game. Allow her the opportunity to say like, hey, it's time to get off. Let's go do this. And then you follow her lead. Is that too much to ask for, Quentin?
No, I really don't believe so. It's not a hard ask at all. That just comes with, like I said, like not being selfish. Like it's not just about you anymore. It's not just about what you want to do anymore.
A man needs an understanding helper as a wife that accepts him, appreciates him, and affirms him. What is something your wife can do or does do to appreciate you and give you positive affirmation?
I would just say, and this is very simple, like positive feedback. Like just saying, like say if it's something you're working on or something that you just did out of the blue for her or something, just like actually like recognizing that and acknowledging it. Like, hey, I realized you did this. Like for me recently, it was just like, I'm a procrastinator. Yeah. So like Maddie's gonna have to remind me, and probably remind me again. And I probably still won't do it, or I'll just do it like the 5th time she asks me. And I think she told me like yesterday, like I appreciate it, like how much you've been on things, like I won't even have to like remind you. So it's just like I feel like just like once they see that progress and you see that you're working on something, just like telling you that, because if you're always hearing what you're not doing and never hearing that you're doing something well, it's just like kind of makes you feel bad about yourself in a sense.
Definitely. I feel like that goes both ways. Like positive affirmation is good in a relationship because you can be doing everything right but feel like you're doing everything wrong because that person isn't isn't, you know, giving you that encouragement or saying, you know, good job. I feel like also like you think people are doing things that they're supposed to be doing, like washing the dishes and cleaning up after themselves. You can still give positive affirmation just for things like that. I feel like that's something that I struggled in my relationships, was like, it was like, you're supposed to do this. Like, why would I clap for you because you mopped the floor, because you did the dishes after I cooked? Like, that's expected. But it's still just give that positive affirmation to that person. Let them know, like, I see you, I thank you, continue to do what you're doing, and we're gonna be straight. So with that being said, let's do another random question. Pick a number.
Let's hope it's another good one. I like that last one.
We'll just skip it if it's not a good one.
Let's do 18.
You just won $10,000. What are you going to do with the money? I like that question.
$10,000 is not a lot of money. It sounds like a lot if you win it.
It's not, but you can turn 10,000 into, I don't know. I'm not even going to say my opinion.
I'm going to be honest with you. I wouldn't, because I haven't thought about this question, or I just haven't thought about it at all. But me knowing that it's not a lot of money, I'd probably sit on it till I know what I wanted to do with it exactly. Like, I wouldn't just like, oh, like, let's go on a vacation, let's go like splurge or something, let's go get clothes. Like, I would actually do something that's going to produce more money.
Yeah. I feel like for me, because, you know, I've inherited a large sum of money when I turned 18. And I really feel like I wish I didn't inherit that money. Like, I wish it would have been saved till I was like 25. Because ideally, like, even looking back right now, I'm 24. I would have had the years from 18 to 25 to know that I'm growing as an adult, I'm growing as a person, and this is what I have to look forward to when I turn 25. So then my mindset now is way completely different than it was when I was 18, you know, spending money on my boyfriend, spending money on makeup, whatever the case may be. Definitely, I agree with that. Like, sit on it. I think that people get money and they expect it to like, it has to go. Something that my grandpa used to always say is that like the black dollar stays in people's pockets for less than 24 hours. And that's not good.
Yes.
That's not good at all. When it comes to other, you know, cultures and other races, that number completely changes. Even for white people, it's like that money stays in their pockets for like a week.
Yeah.
And even though a week, I mean, ideally it's not that bad, but I mean, we got to step up. We got to do better. Like, if we just won $10,000, the last thing we're going to do is go hit Rodeo or go hit, you know, the mall. I think we should be looking into ways to save that, put it into a trust for our children in the future, for it to accrue interest. It should be put into something where you make more money off of it. If you make 10,000, it's not enough. We gotta turn that 10 into 100, and then turn that 100 into a million, so on and so forth. Like we already got into, your dad. In the Bible, fathers are supreme authoritative figures in their families. They show patience, love unconditionally, forgive without strings attached, and give abundantly. As a father of younger kids, how do you use patience as a dad?
Use patience every single day. Because my babies are 2 and about to be 1 right now. So just like with everything. So like today, I'm bathing my daughter, and my son's he's had a bath and everything, so he's fine. So I'm putting all the like toys up and like all the soap, like taking everything out of the tub. And like 3 times straight, he just crawls in the bathroom and knocks it all back in the water. And I was like, Cameron, like, will you just get out of here? Like, what are you doing? Or like how my daughter's getting potty trained. Like, just understanding that she hasn't been going to the bathroom by herself at all yet. So she may say no, she doesn't have to pee, but she still pees on herself. And like, you can't really yell at her, like whoop her, get that frustrated because like she's never had to do this before. Like, it's like really just being patient and like teaching. Like, yeah. But like the biggest form of patience, like I said, like is really just teaching, because like that's what you're doing with young kids, and even kids as they grow up, like they're learning every single day up until their adulthood, and you're still learning after that.
Yeah, I definitely don't have patience. I lack in patience so much, you guys. Like, I really believe that that's why I'm not a mom, because I wouldn't know how to do it. I wouldn't know how to do it. I just, look, I'm tired and you need to go somewhere because I'm bothered. It is important as a father to give your children freedom for growth without overprotection and teach them responsibility. I feel like as a dad, God instructs fathers to protect their families, to support them, to, you know, be that security and keep them away from harm. It's also learned that kind of those helicopter parents aren't exactly the best parents either, because their kids aren't able to really go out and learn from experiences and learn from their own mistakes. So with that being said, you have a daughter and a son, so you can kind of give both ways that you would deal with this. But how would you go about your son and daughter expressing they want to start dating? Let's do your son first. Let's do your son first.
Okay, so I'm just gonna be 2 type of people right now. I'm gonna be a normal dad, then I'm gonna be a Christian father right now. Okay, so a normal dad, you don't want your daughter to date. You don't
I
want
said
your
your son first.
Okay, I understand that. I'm just gonna say this first. You already know you don't want your daughter to date until she moves out or something like that. So let's be real. Like that's and my son, he can date when he's 16, I guess, if he wants to. But okay, like this is me from being on a Christian standpoint, like just trying to like work on things and be better. Starting off with my son, you have to have different type of conversations. So with my son, I feel like I would tell him like girls just aren't like play toys. So like being younger, like most males can attest for this unless you were just always raised Christian and like just really devout all your life. But when you're in high school, nobody's looking just like, oh, I want her to be my girlfriend and I'm just gonna be the best boyfriend and treat her so good. You look at a girl, you look at how she looks and you think she's pretty and you're not thinking anything else besides that. Like, let's be real. So like just really trying to get him to understand that it's just like she's not just like a toy. She's not somebody you mess around with. Like you can like change her for the rest of her life. Like you can change how she feels about herself, how she feels about other people. Like you're playing with somebody's life and their emotions. So just really just trying to get him to understand that. And also the fact that if you're doing things that you're not ready to do, you can bring forward things that you're not ready for. Me being like teenage pregnancy, like not me being because I was 21 when I had my daughter, but it's like these are things. Gotta point that out there. I made it. But just putting that out there because those are very real things. Like if you're having sex or doing things that you shouldn't be doing too early, like trying to be grown too early, you're really going to be grown kind of early because you're going to be raising a baby. And I ain't raising no babies. It's going to be all on you. So that's how I would deal with it for my son. And with my daughter, it's a different conversation because you have to meet the young man.
Right.
It's like you can't, your daughter doesn't really have like, I don't know how they're being raised, but your daughter doesn't have like these thoughts like besides I really like him, like I want to be my boyfriend. Like she's not thinking how a man is thinking. So like you really got to meet the young man and try to get where he's coming from. Trying to see what he wants out of your daughter, like how you see on the TV shows, like what do you plan on doing with my daughter type of thing. Like you really got to have that conversation and really get a real understanding like how you think this young man is, like how he could have been potentially raised, because his dad or his mother, whoever, may not have talked to him like how I'm going to talk to Cameron and tell him like you can't like play with people, like you can like really hurt somebody, because these things do happen. So like I said, with my son it would be talking to him personally. With my daughter, more so talking to whoever she's interested in. And if he doesn't meet the qualifications, then that's just the conversation I have not prepared for, because when you leave home and you go to school, like I can't supervise you, like I can't do anything there. So it's just really trying to have that trust and relationship with your daughter, that when you say something, she has enough faith in you and believes in you and think that you have her best intentions in mind, so that she'll listen to you and avoid possible pain or disappointment or frustration or something like that.
So I noticed that you said that you would want to meet the boy that your daughter's dating.
Yes.
You wouldn't care to meet the girl that your son is interested in? Is that not of as much importance?
I mean, it is definitely important, but I feel like how like even when you're a young man, like the guy is kind of like the boss and the ruler of their relationship. So like I want to see how you plan on running things. Like what are your intentions? Like a girl doesn't get in a relationship and run things. I mean, it does happen, but I really feel like that doesn't happen at a very young age. That's like when you're older and you're an adult, because women like just progress and they get smarter faster than we do. Oh, yeah. But when we're young like that and you have all those hormones, the boy's the one making all the pushy moves. Like let's be real. Like he's the one like just doing some outlandish things.
So also I think another thing is like one thing that my mom always did was she wanted to meet the person I was with's parents. Mm-hmm. Because that would kind of determine like who's even raising this kid. Like are they just letting them do whatever? And I feel like in a sense for me, I was that kid whose parent was letting them do whatever. And I was dating someone and his mom was like, you know, very kind of strict, and she was very like on us, like what are you guys doing, like very kind of just, you know, a structured parent. Mm-hmm. And I feel like as a teenager I hated it. I was like, if you don't mind your business, woman, like, and it was like that wasn't respectful at all. Like I mean, ideally my mom should have been doing that. And honestly, like if we're really gonna talk about it, you know, like that's why you were kicking it with us so young, because my mom wasn't there and you were able to, you know, come and hang out with Madison whenever you wanted to. So that's how all that started. So yeah, I definitely think it's important as a parent to hold both of your kids accountable, not just your daughters but your sons too. Let your sons know how to be nice to girls. Like even with Cameron, I'm gonna tell him like, look, little boy, like with first second I notice you liking these girls, I want to go meet her and I'm gonna go talk to her and I'm gonna tell her, don't be letting him try to play you and talk to you crazy, because he's a little freaky little boy, and you know, if you ever feel some type of way, I'm his auntie and I'm gonna be there for you. Like I want to be the advocate for the girls that my nephew dates, and for my sons too. I'm gonna be the same way, because I just feel like I always loved my boyfriend's moms that would show me that they understood me and they cared about me and they knew like what stage I was in life being a young girl and kind of, dealing with their son and having to focus on stuff like that. So pick another number.
22.
What is your most hated chore and why?
I hate doing laundry.
Oh yeah.
Laundry's the worst because it stacks up so fast.
Yeah.
And then imagine after you wash 4 loads, folding 4 loads of clothes. I got clothes from 2 weeks ago I haven't folded yet. And it's time to wash again.
Yeah.
So I do not like laundry.
Yeah. I got a whole basket right here waiting for me. And I probably won't get to it today. It's probably not happening.
It's going to wait a few more days.
Yeah. I would love to say I'm going to do it tonight, but it's not happening. It's just not happening.
I don't plan on doing mine at all. I'm just going to pick the clean clothes out of it.
Yeah. See, I'm trying to better myself. I'm trying to be present in my life, and I've actually been good at it. Like I've got a couple clothes on my bed, but thing is they're going to be cleaned up by the end of the week, and that's all that matters. With that being said, we kind of already got into, we weren't always doing right. Mm-hmm. We were in high school, doing whatever, smoking, drinking, partying, having sex, all of that stuff. So we have gotten the opportunity to have the experience living in the world and coming to Christ. Mm-hmm. So with that being said, what advice would you give to the man that is still, in the world? He doesn't really care to change his ways right now, but he's listening right now. He's tuning in. What is some advice that you would give to him about the life that he's living right now?
I would say that you have to find what really makes you happy, you personally, and not the things that makes the world happy. So like growing up for me, when I was young, it was talking to a lot of girls, kind of being disrespectful, and smoking weed, to be honest. Like that was just like everything that you kind of saw like within music videos, in school, like things like that. But those things get you nowhere in life. Like smoking weed, you can't get jobs. Being mean and being rude to people, like people won't like you, people won't want to deal with you. And then they'll carry those grudges into their adulthood. Someone may end up being your boss and seeing your application on the table and remember your name, and then you're not getting that job. So I really feel like it's just really finding out like what you like and what makes you happy, because we're all innocent growing up, and like the world is what turns us into like the bad version of ourselves. And I feel like that's through like influence and peer pressure. So I'd also say be strong enough to not fall to temptation of peer pressure, because I felt pressure to it. I didn't even want to smoke when I started smoking, and I didn't even like it when I first started doing it, but it was cool, and that's what people around me liked, so that's what I had to like. And then I had strong-willed friends who didn't fall temptation all through high school, and now they're in college playing football or in the NFL playing football because they were strong enough mentally to not fall victim to peer pressure.
Definitely men. And especially if, if you're not convicted, I don't know. God's going to have to deal with you. So with you coming to Christ, I had the experience where I was, in the world doing whatever I wanted to do. And then once I really came to God and was like, wow, I need to change some of my ways. I need to change what I'm doing. I had to stop smoking weed. I had to stop, having sex because I'm not married. I had to, really remove some friends out of my life that weren't supporting the life that I was trying to live, because ideally when you're making that decision to come to God and you're choosing to stop smoking weed or stop cussing or drinking or whatever the case may be, it's hard because it's something that you don't know. It's something that you've never done. In that experience, I lost a lot of friends, and I lost a lot of different activities and opportunities that I initially had. And it was all worth it in the end. But what was your experience like after, coming to Christ, and what advice would you give to the man that's listening and really God's kind of pulling at his heartstrings and saying like, all right, come on, like you got to do this. Like it's time to, do right. What advice would you give him?
I'll start with the advice portion. I think the advice that I would give him is to listen, especially if he's pulling on your heartstrings is for a good reason. Like something could potentially be getting ready to happen, like say you're using drugs or something. Like you could just be smoking weed. You could be going to smoke weed or to pick it up one time, and something bad is going to happen there. And because you stopped a week prior, you don't go pick it up, you're not in that situation. Or you can be out partying or something because you like to drink with your friends, and then something bad is going to happen. But if you stop previously and just listen to what God was telling you to do, you still be around to talk to people and give them like your testimony. So I'd really say just listen, because God comes to us at certain points in our lives where he probably needs you to change the most for your own well-being, or you're ready enough and went through enough of life to just be able to accept what he wants you to do. Mm-hmm. And then first part of the question, which I'm answering secondly, I would say things changed for me, like not really in too much of a bad way. I probably lost a couple friends, like I'd say like 4 of them possibly. Mm-hmm. But a lot of my friends were pretty responding to it. It's actually pretty cool. Like my best friend Dylan, like I stopped smoking, and like he'll still invite me places, but he won't let like any weed around me. He'll tell people who are like I don't know like that but are his friends, like don't offer this to Q at all. Like he doesn't do that. Like he's not like that. They're supportive in that sense. Then I have other friends that call me and ask me questions, because there's like, I never had a friend who I could talk religion with and who's in Bible classes or just like in his word like that. So can you tell me what this means, or can you tell me what you learned in church or what you learned in class this week? So it's honestly been really cool. And like those friends that you lose, you don't even really need them. Like you're not missing out on anything, to be honest with you, because when you're sitting up smoking, you're drinking, like you're missing out on life. You're not doing anything. Like you're really not doing anything. So it's really just a positive. You don't see it immediately, but as you get older and like more knowledgeable, you start to realize like I really need to be there anyways, because I wasn't getting anything out of that relationship, out of that friendship.
I definitely feel that way. Like the friends I had to cut off, I don't really miss, and I don't really long for that relationship. So I guess the last question, then we're gonna have you pick another number. There's men that are, choosing to live right for God. They're still single though. They don't have kids, and they're kind of nervous to propose to their wife and to get married. You didn't exactly have a wedding, right? You and Madison went and eloped. You guys decided that it was time to get married for various reasons, and you guys went off and did it. So what encouragement would you give to the guy that's kind of leaning towards wanting to settle down, wanting to get married? What would you tell him before he, goes through with it?
I would tell him just to really think about everything that he's doing and what he's committing to, because it's a lot different than being a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Like I feel like the terms are a lot more open when you're a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Like you can do a lot more, you can say a lot more, but when you actually get married, it's like before God. So like you got to be respectful within your relationship to both honor God and to like honor your wife in a sense. And I would also say just really make sure you know the person that you're getting with, and understand that if you don't know them, that things are going to change, and you have to be ready and willing to change with those things, or to grow with those things. You can't be upset because somebody isn't the way that they were when they were 20 when you met them, and now they're 24 and they're different, but they're getting older, and like you have to love them enough through that and want to learn them enough to still make that relationship work out.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, pick a number.
Let's do 9.
What did you dream about last night? I'm trying to think. Did I have a dream?
Last night I didn't have a dream, but I had a dream before that.
Okay.
It's going to take like 3 minutes to explain it, because it was a crazy dream.
We have time.
Okay, so look, I don't know what it is. Like, I don't go to sleep to scary things, but this is like a sci-fi movie type of dream. So I love heights first and foremost. So in my dream, we're like on this like water slide, but when we came into the water slide, it's like we're falling from the sky at first, and we landed on the water slide. I don't know who any of the people were, but I just remember it was like really fun. Like everybody was smiling and laughing, but the water slide had edges and you could fall off of them. So like we're trying to like all stay in the middle, and we're going down the slide, and then we shoot off the slide into the air. And I remember it being fun. And I'm gonna disclose a little secret, because I've always just been I'm a land person. I say that I'm a land mammal. I skateboarded on the concrete, then I went to the football field. You didn't catch me in water. Needless to say, I can't swim. So in the dream, we go off of the water slide, and there's got to be water, but I'm not thinking it's like a river. So we go off this slide, I'm in the air, and I just see water, like it's black, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm going to drown. No. So I hit the water, but this is a great dream. This is a good dream, because I can swim in this dream. So I'm like, for sure, I swim back up to the top. I'm swimming. I'm looking for my friends. I'm just like, where is everybody? And this is at like a amusement park or something, because there's like fake like robotic goldfish in the water and stuff. So like I'm swimming past them, and this is where it gets a little creepy. Like they start to like turn and like look at me, and so I get uncomfortable because these are big goldfish. And then one, like they don't have like teeth, but he's like kind of like snapping my foot, like trying to like pull me in the water. So I'm like, what's going on? So I swim out of the water, and I'm talking to somebody when I finally got out of the water. And I don't remember his name. I just remember one person's name, and his name was Randy. So I get out of the water, and we're just like talking, and I'm just like, have you seen Randy and everybody else? And he was just like, Randy, like we haven't seen him in a week. And I was like, what? I was just on this water slide with him right now. And I was like, you mean that one? And then he pointed to the left, and it wasn't even a functioning water slide. It was like hazards, cautions, like crossed off. I was like, bro, no way. We were just on that water slide. Like I just landed in the water. I was like, no one's seen him or anybody else who's on that water slide for a week. So it's like some Twilight stuff. I'm just like, what are you talking about? And then so it's like I skip out of that dream, and now we're with the same people, and we're doing parkour, running around, having a good time. And then like there's 4 people in front of us, and us 2 are in the back. And I don't know how, but we both trip. And when we trip, we like fall off the side of the building. It's not like a large fall. It's just like it's not a big fall, because we just like fall and dust ourselves off. But our friends are still running, like they don't hear us. Yeah. And then we like land in these people's yard, and they look like twins, and they're really creepy. And so like they weren't trying to let us go up the ladder. And so like my friend like kind of like got around the woman and like ran away up the ladder, but they were like trying to hold me captive. So like I'm like in the dream like fighting for my life, but this is a good dream because I'm winning. You never win in your dreams. You punch slow, you're getting beat up. I'm winning. And then like finally my wife hears me like struggling. She's like, Quentin, are you having a bad dream? And I was like, yeah, I was. Thank you. She always wakes me up from my bad dreams like all the time.
Oh,
but yeah, that was the end of the dream. It was crazy. But I was winning that fight. I wanted to dream about it last night because he was going to have to see me again because that was just a long fight.
That's so funny because, you guys, my sister literally always says that Quentin tosses in his sleep and she'll have to wake him up. Like, Quentin, like, you're having a bad dream. It's okay. And then he'll, like, in his sleep be like, thank you. And then go back to sleep. So that's funny. That's funny. Okay. Last question, but you're going to pick a number for me.
Let's go down to 33 then.
What is my all-time favorite dessert? Red velvet cake. Hands down. Red velvet cake with, lots of icing. Put some icing in the middle. It better not be dry. Better be moist. Fun fact. You guys might think this is gross, but it's really good. My uncle will put maple bacon on his red velvet cake. Everyone listening to this is probably like, maple bacon? Yes, absolutely. And it is so good. Like, every single person that I've made that cake for has loved it. Like, I remember I took my neighbor some red velvet cake with maple bacon on it. And he came back over a week later asking for some more cake. And my auntie was like, you made him some cake? I was like, yes, I did. And he liked it. So, yeah. Try it.
She must have liked this neighbor because she never brought me no red velvet cake.
No, I didn't like him. That's the thing.
Now
I'm really
we find
that
out
girl.
it's him.
No, I'm really that girl. I said him. I said he. No, I cook for people. Literally. You.
I know.
Quentin, when we were in high school, Quentin, you had just got a nose job, didn't you?
Oh, yeah. It wasn't a nose job. I have terrible sinuses. I had to have surgery on my nose. That's what it is.
Yes. Quentin had sinus surgery and he was hungry. And so I had posted that I had made dinner on my story and he was like, oh my gosh, I'm so hungry. Can you bring me some? I packed him the biggest plate of food, and then I think me and my sister actually went to go get him like some candy and some snacks, and we brought him a little get well basket with a plate of food and some snacks, and we sat outside and talked for a couple minutes, and he was like, wow, like I've never had someone do this for me before, thank you. And I'm like, you're welcome. Like, so yeah, I'm that friend. Like, you can't tell me that I'm not that friend. So it's not even that I liked him. I didn't like him. I'm just that girl. I will cook for you. I like to cook. So that's just what it is.
Y'all gotta understand, I lived in the hood back then, okay? People didn't bring each other gifts. This was like, this basket, it was like a $60, $70 basket of candy. And I'm young, so I love candy. Nobody had ever done that for me before. Neither have they done it after. So yeah, it was really cool.
You always get the best gifts for your birthday, for Christmas. Y'all, Quentin, my sister sent Quentin on a scavenger hunt.
Let me tell my business.
You got a phone.
Oh, whoa. Hey, yeah, that was a good year. That was a good year.
I'm not about to tell nothing crazy on here. He's yeah, Madison sent him on a scavenger hunt for his birthday, and he got a whole bunch of stuff. And the last gift that he got was a phone. But mind you, like, all the other gifts were like good too. Yeah. So yeah, you're spoiled. I always tell him he's spoiled, but he doesn't think he is. But you're definitely spoiled.
The term that I use is called deserving. I deserve everything that I get because I'm a good guy.
Yes,
so I'm very deserving of them.
He's a good father, and he's deserving of everything he gets from my sister. And so, with that being said,
I gotta answer my dessert question. You didn't get to say my dessert yet.
Yes, your dessert. What's your favorite dessert?
I'm a simple guy. Okay, so I'm very simple. I like just chocolate cake. Everything chocolate, double chocolate, triple chocolate. I need a lot of chocolate frosting like on it. I had some, Tamarind brought me some, I forgot where it was from. I think Mission Inn. That cake was so good. I woke up at 3 a.m. and ate it. Yeah. I ate half of it, then I woke up and ate the rest of it. It was so good.
I didn't eat it. I don't like chocolate cake. I'm not a chocolate cake person.
Is fire.
And I should have ate it because I've been craving chocolate for the past couple of days, but we've been in the gym. So
getting gains, man.
Yeah, we working out. But I've been trying to stay away from the sweets. Like, I have no sweets in here and I'm devastated because last night I was super sad. I was so sad last night. I was like, I want some chocolate and I have no candy in here. So it's fine. Shout out to you for being a good father, a good husband, a good brother-in-law. I feel like God works, and we met freshman year, even though you were bullying me, and we were in chemistry together, and all of that stuff worked out for a reason. And now I'm an auntie, and thank you for coming on my podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for not flaking on me.
I didn't have nothing to do. Let's not sneak this.
No tea, no shade. I'm just a little frustrated, but it's okay. We're gonna love and forgive and forget.
Everything worked out.
Yes, everything worked out, and it probably ended up going way better than it would have. So thank you for coming. I love you, and I will see you guys on episode 9. Bye.